Don't analyze God's being or yours. Let go of thinking and worship the divine with all that you are, as you are, embracing it fully, for its own sake only, nothing more. Because the happy essence, both of God and of you, is God. If you want to make this cloud an integral part of your life, so you can live and work there, you must do one more thing. Complete the cloud of unknowing with the cloud of forgetting. To the cloud of unknowing above you and between you and God, add the cloud of forgetting beneath you, between you and creation. If the cloud of unknowing makes you feel alienated from God, that's only because you've not yet put a cloud of forgetting between you and everything in creation. When I say everything in creation, I mean not only the creatures themselves, but also everything they do and are, as well as the circumstances in which they find themselves. There are no exceptions. You must forget everything. Hide all created things, material and spiritual, good and bad, under the cloud of forgetting. Under the cloud of forgetting. As long as you're thinking about anything, it's an obstacle between you and God. And the more you have in your mind that is not God, the further away you are. So let go of every clever, persuasive thought. Put it down and cover it with a thick cloud of forgetting. The mind is always distorted in some way, warping our work. And at its worst, our intellect can lead us to great error. When distracting thoughts press down on you, when they stand between you and God and stubbornly demand your attention, pretend you don't even notice them. Try looking over their shoulders as if you're searching for something else, and you are. That something else is God, hidden in a cloud of unknowing. Doing this, the work of contemplation will start getting easier for you. When tried and understood, this spiritual technique is nothing but an intense longing for God. The desire to feel and see the divine as we can here. This longing is true love, and love always deserves the peace it wins. If you can sit and do nothing, then you can do virtually anything. There's another trick you can try. When exhausted from fighting your thoughts, when you're unable to put them down, fall down before them and cower like a captive or a coward overcome in battle. give up. Accept that it's foolish for you to fight them any longer. Do this, and you'll find that in the hands of your enemies, you are surrendering to God. Let yourself feel defeated. Accept your failure. And always keep this plan in mind. Because when you try it, you'll discover that you melt like water. During contemplative prayer, steer clear of withdrawing into yourself. Also, you should not be outside, above, behind, or on one side or the other of yourself. Where then, you ask, will I be? If I take your advice, I'll end up nowhere. You're right. Well said. That's exactly where I want you, because nowhere physically is everywhere spiritually. Make sure that your contemplative work is fully detached from the physical. Obviously, during contemplative prayer, your body's 5 senses and your soul's powers will think that you are doing nothing because they find nothing to feed on. But don't let that stop you. Keep on working at this nothing, as long as you're doing it for God's love. Persevere in contemplation with a renewed longing in your will to have God, remembering that your intellect cannot possess God. For I would rather be nowhere physically, wrestling with this obscure nothing, than be a powerful, rich lord, able to go wherever I want, whenever I want, always amusing myself with every something that I own. So abandon the worlds everywhere and something in exchange for this infinitely more valuable nowhere and nothing. Don't be bothered that your intellect is unable to comprehend it. I love it even more for its inscrutability. Its infinite worth makes it incomprehensible. Also, remember that you can more easily feel this nothing than see it. It can be experienced, but not grasped. That's why it seems completely hidden and totally dark to those who've only been looking at it for a very short time. Let me clarify this concept of dark here. When a person experiences this nothing, the soul is blinded by an abundance of spiritual light, and not by actual darkness, or by an absence of physical light. So who labels this nothing? That would be the outer self. Our inner self calls it all. Because experiencing this nothing gives us an intuitive sense of all creation, both physical and spiritual, without paying special attention to any one thing. So work diligently in this nothing, which is nowhere. God has none of these dimensions. Put aside your exterior ways of knowing, such as your five senses and their objects of interest. Because I'm telling you that this contemplative work can't be accomplished by them. none of these dimensions. In fact, nothing spiritual has these characteristics. Experiencing this nothing. So who labels this nothing? That would be the outer self. Our inner self calls it all. Because experiencing this nothing gives us an intuitive sense of all creation, cool and spiritual, without paying special attention to any So work diligently in this nothing, which is nowhere. Put aside your exterior ways of knowing, such as your five senses and their objects of interest, because I'm telling you that this contemplative work can't be accomplished by them. God has none of these dimensions. In fact, nothing spiritual has these characteristics. So stop trying to work with your body's senses in any way. Abandon them entirely. Those people who start the inner work of contemplation with the belief that they're supposed to hear, smell, see, taste, or touch spiritual things, inside or outside, are truly misled. They work against nature, taking the wrong approach. Although God has ordained that our body's senses should teach us about all external and physical things, I mean that in no way do the senses' various positive activities help us understand spiritual things. Whenever we hear or read about something that our body's superficial senses cannot describe to us in any way, we can be sure that this thing is spiritual and not physical.
Press the like button if you can hear what she's saying.
We have the same experience in contemplative work when we use our spiritual sense in our struggle to know God.
Thank you.
It doesn't matter how much profound wisdom we possess about created spiritual beings. Our understanding cannot help us gain knowledge about any uncreated spiritual being who is God alone. But the failure of understanding can help us. When we reach the end of what we know, that's where we find God. That's why Saint Dionysius said, "The best, most divine knowledge of God is that which is known, by not knowing. When your soul is engaged in contemplation, it doesn't worry or feel doubt. It's totally at peace because it knows exactly what it's supposed to do. Also, when practicing this prayer, your soul is purified and transformed. You become discerning, and you no longer want to wander from the path as much. Go forth and gently conquer them. Be humble and passionate in this work. Persevere. Contemplation begins on earth, but continues in eternity. Love never ends.
Alright, you guys, that's the end. Thank you for joining me. And I'm not going to ruin it by turning on comments because I don't have moderators, and we're here to be one with God. We don't need comments, as you know. So I'll be back to play the beginning of this meditation, and I'm going to play it as many times as it takes for me to be able to sit alone in my forgetting and my unknowing and be able to meditate with God alone. Thank you for joining me. I invite you to practice this, sitting alone and in your forgetting and in your unknowing, and just being in the infinite space of nothing, in love and God. So when you go out into the world and you encounter people, experiences, things, I know that this meditation will bring you to a place of peace within all living things and experiences. These are things we never learned, and we're learning now because it's a beautiful time to be alive. So thank you for joining me. If you want me to send you more invites on my lives, just DM me after this with a heart or whatever you want to say, and I'll be sure to send you a link next time I go live. Sending you lots of love and peace.